Hey guys, just making my way through the forest, and we're gonna go put an SD card in one of the trail cameras and check the hunting blind, and then we're gonna sit in the hunting blind and do a paranormal session. A lot of stuff has happened this week, and I want to talk to. In the last week, we had my dad's friend Rolly passed away, and 2 days before that, his brother unexpectedly passed away. So that family lost two brothers, and that was under a week ago. I want to try to contact those guys. And today is actually, if you guys remember, the friend Doug who passed away a year and a half ago. We had a huge falling out. You know, Doug had some issues. And today is Doug's birthday. So there are three people that I want to contact. Also, I want to fill you guys in on an update about great-grandpa Henry's gravestone, how he was erased from the gravestone and we couldn't figure out what was going on there. I solved the mystery there as well. Stay tuned, guys. Lots of paranormal stuff happening today on the trail. Okay, here we are at the hunting blind, guys. It was caved in again. I had to take all the snow off of it. And what's happening this time of year, because it's warmer out, is all the snow, it snowed over a foot. It was on top and it got warm and it all melted into a solid chunk of ice. So the tent kind of staves in the top of it and makes a bowl. And then all of the ice and snow that's there has nowhere to go because it's waterproof. And it melted in the sun and it turned into a solid block of ice. So I had a very hard time getting the tent cleared off. Just something to think about if you're going to leave one of these things out all year. Next year, it's going to go under a spruce tree with an overhanging bough somewhere so that I don't have to clean it off as much. Just this here is the trail that all the animals, the fox and the fisher, use this trail every day, the deer. And I had hoped that I would be able to come out here and do some photography, and it never actually came to fruition. I didn't have time, and it's just... it turned into a whole season of Gary cleaning off the hunting blind is what it turned into. Today what I want to do is talk to Rolly and Clayton. Okay, Rolly was my dad's friend that my dad was staying with. He was terminally ill. We all knew he was going to pass very shortly, and he did. Just this week he passed. But unexpectedly, 2 days before that, his brother died. But the box did allude to that and said stroke. So I don't know if Clayton died from a stroke or not. But neither one of these guys came through in the session that I did and spoke directly to us. So I've had my doubts about necrophonic lately, guys. It's just bothering me that, you know, we've heard some repeat answers and things. And I just... But after talking to some of you guys, watching some more videos online, watching my own videos, all of the things that make contextual sense, and I don't hear a lot of repeat things, it's just that one sentence from the murder case that we heard twice, how many guns you going to bring me? And it wasn't the exact same the second time we heard it. So, but that made me kind of say, you know, why are we hearing the same things again? So I've had my doubts. But we're going to give it another go today. So I want to talk to those guys. Today is my buddy Doug's birthday. He was one of my closest friends, was in my wedding, was at every family function for 45 years of his life until he died. And then we found out things came to light right at the end of his life that kind of, we all split apart. You know, he was molesting kids. So, you know, throughout his lifetime, there were various people that he had done this to, and it came to light. He admitted it. So there's no issue there. We know it happened. We know who people that it happened to, family members and stuff. So it was not a good scene. But today is his birthday. Now, you guys know if you watch this channel that he has come through. He said he's sorry and, you know, sending light and love and all these things. We've gotten messages, you know, in his name. Every time I turn this box on, I get his name. So we're going to try to make contact today because it was his birthday, just to see if he has a message there. And then the last thing I want to do is I did a job on the weekend. My wife ran a conference. She's the chair of the leg for the physicians here in town. And so we ran a conference, and I was the photographer for the conference. And my cousin actually works for the hospital as well. So I was chatting with her, and I asked her about Great-Grandpa Henry's gravestone, and she resolved the issue for me. My aunt came to me a month ago and said she saw a picture of the gravestone online and that it only had Grandma's name on it. And I said right away, well, somebody in the family had to replace that, because graveyards and maintenance guys don't replace gravestones. I'm pretty sure even if they damage them, they don't replace them, right? So, and that is exactly what happened. My cousin told me that her mother would have been my grandfather's sister. Okay, so she was my great aunt, and it was our great grandparents that Henry and Della. Henry was removed from the gravestone, and he was removed at the behest of my cousin, who said that he was a bad man. And I had heard rumors, that he didn't treat the family nice, that he was, pit one kid against the other kind of thing, start fights. And the two boys, my grandfather and his brother, hated each other their entire lives. So there is something to that. There was, some kind of abuse there when they were kids as well. Not sexual, but whatever household, things went on back in the day. Very strict upbringing. And so they simply removed him from the headstone. Now the problem with that is that, as you guys know, I did a session, and my great aunt Audrey, who was my grandfather's sister, was only a half sister. So here's the tale that needs telling for those of you that are new. Okay, you don't know what's going on here. We did a session out at the farm, and I got my great grandfather Seth's name, my grandfather's name. Those were the first things said by the box. I mean, Seth is not a common name, and it's again one of those things that I say necrophonic. There's more going on, more to it, right? It doesn't just pull a random name, and they happen to all be family members. And it actually said Grandma Della's name. Anyway, Grandma Della got pregnant out of wedlock back in the 1930s, early 30s, and her father Seth married her off to my great-grandfather, Henry. Okay, now Henry had a life down south, 4 hours south of here, Stony Creek area. He was the sheriff. His first wife died in childbirth in 1910, and their child died as well. So I think that turned him sour. The life that he led, dealing with criminals and all this stuff, and then having his family die, it hardened him. It turned him into somebody that, he wasn't a nice guy anymore. And when my great-grandmother Della got pregnant with my great-aunt Audrey, my great-great-grandfather, I know it's confusing, married her off to Henry. Said, come up here. Here's 160 acres. You have to marry my daughter. And then they had my grandfather and my great-uncle together. But there was no love between them. And as I did that session, guys, on the Spirit Box, I really got a great sadness, I told you guys, came over me about Aunt Audrey. She was the nicest, most lovable woman, and I only remember her as a little old woman in her 80s, right? She was probably late 70s by the time I was born, and she was the nicest woman, but there was a great sadness about her, and that's because she was raised by Henry, who wasn't her dad. And I'm pretty sure he didn't treat her very good. There was no love there, and she never got married, and eventually my grandfather Henry married her off. And her husband was 20 years older than her, and he was a bad man. It was a bad scene all around, so I think there was a great sadness in Audrey's life. And now, because of learning this new information, I kind of want to contact Audrey and the family members, and even my grandfather. Okay, the problem is that Audrey's family, her descendants now, my cousins and second cousins, were the ones who replaced this headstone. Because Henry wasn't their real father, they have now removed him from history. They've removed him from the gravesite, okay, by replacing the stone, but they didn't contact anyone else in the family. And now my aunt, who discovered that he was missing, is upset because she said, well, they could easily erase him because he wasn't part of their family. Really, he wasn't their. He raised Audrey, but he wasn't her father. So it's great that they want to remove him. But then there's our whole half of the family, which he was our great-great-grandfather, not just in name, but by deed as well. We are bloodline of Reed from him. So, and they've erased him. So I'm not going to get into it. I'm not too upset about it. It is what it is. But I'd like to ask the spirits, Grandpa Henry, is he upset about that? Let's get at it. Doug, you're always around. There's a shiver down the back of my neck as soon as I said his name. Doug, what do you have to say? I told Dougie when I kind of came to an agreement in my head about what, that I had spent my entire life looking out for Doug, because Dougie never grew up past 14. He was always a little bit slower than everybody else, but we always took good care of him, right? And that was just the way we thought of Doug as, he was still 14, 40 going on 14, and that's just the way he was. But I spent a lifetime taking care of Dougie, and I told him, finally, I came to an agreement. I said, you know what, if it's real, if he's on the other side, he can spend the rest of my life taking care of me, watching out for me from the other side. So, Dougie, are you upholding your end of the bargain? There's a shiver down the back of my neck. I heard certainly, and I agree. All right, Doug, what else you got to say? Today's your birthday. Happy birthday, Doug. Tell us about heaven, Doug. Is it all it's cracked up to be? Is it a great place? Are you in heaven? Maybe he's not in heaven. I don't believe, guys, that there is a hell per se. I believe that we create our own form of punishment. From everything I've seen, heard, read, and I've watched hundreds and hundreds of NDE accounts online, guys. I have a few channels I watch where there literally are thousands of people that have near-death experiences. And there are a few that talk about going to a dark place in hell. But I believe that's something that we punish ourselves, basically. I just can't see that there would be an omnipresent, all-powerful, all-seeing power in the universe that would create us, put us here. We have no memory, and we're here to learn and figure things out on our own. And when you do something wrong, you would be punished for it. That makes no sense to me. Okay, on the subject of heaven, there's another full down-the-neck shiver. I want to talk to Rolly and Clayton. Both of you guys passed in the last week. You've had a few days now to, get used to what's going on the other side and accept where you are. And we'd like a message from you guys. If you guys can send us a message, something that makes sense that only you guys could send, say some family members' names, give us something that I can chalk up to more than just randomness coming through this box. I would really love, appreciate, and thank you guys if you can do that. Clayton, you had 2 dogs, and your sister has your dogs. Can you say your sister's name or the 2 dogs' names? Because I don't know what the dogs' names were, guys. Hey Laura, it's Gary.
Hey Gary, what's going on today?
Just got a quick question for you. What was Clayton's dogs' names?
Mary and Tink.
Mary and Tink. Okay. No, I'm doing a spirit box session, and I asked Clayton to tell me what his dogs' names were, and then I thought, I don't know what the dogs' names were, so.
Jane and Tinkerbell. Mary Jane and Tinkerbell, that's right. Mary Jane and Tinkerbell was it's not just Mary and
Okay, Mary Jane and Tinkerbell, okay. All right, Rolly, Clayton, I've got your sister here. You know, she was on the phone. She's super interested. She gave me some more information about what happened to Clayton and the circumstances. They do think maybe he did have a stroke. And in the last video, the spirit box said stroke. I talked to Laura and she said that he had gotten a call from his boss, and then when they went to pick him up later for work or call him about work, he didn't remember having that conversation, and they found that strange. So maybe he did have a stroke. They won't know for a while. It takes quite a while for an autopsy report to come back, Laura tells me, but that's what Laura thinks happened. And that's what the spirit box said. So, Clayton, Rolly, if you guys are here, is there anything you want to say to your sister? I do have a question, and I want you guys to slow your roll and stop talking over each other. If you expect me to decipher that mess, there's about 5 spirit box voices and over top of each other layered so deep I'm never going to figure out what was being said.